Have you ever found yourself standing at the threshold of a task, waiting for some undefined moment when everything will feel just right, when your mind will be clearer, your energy fuller, and the path before you smoother? Yet, that ideal moment, so anticipated, seems to dissolve into the fog of hesitation before it ever arrives. This quiet dance with delay, so subtle that it often escapes our immediate notice, slowly erodes not just our time but something far more significant: our sense of purpose. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers whose wisdom transcends centuries, viewed procrastination not as a mere lapse in time management, but as a relinquishment of one's agency. To defer action, they believed, was to yield control to fleeting impulses and external distractions, granting them dominion over our will. This surrender, however quiet, comes at a cost measured in lost potential and unrealized strength. How often have we allowed our aspirations to remain frozen in the realm of possibility, shackled by indecision, while the present moment, that most valuable of gifts, slipped quietly through our fingers? Today, we will explore a Stoic technique forged through countless trials and reflections: the Single Task Immersion method. This practice, simple in form yet profound in its implications, calls upon us to anchor ourselves in the present, to silence the siren call of later, and to embrace the reality that the only time worth acting upon is now. For those who seek mastery over themselves and their actions, this technique offers more than just a means to overcome procrastination. It provides a path toward intentional living, where purpose and action coalesce. Imagine waking up each morning with a clear intention, determined to move forward, yet finding yourself paralyzed at the starting line because conditions never feel perfectly aligned. The Stoics would remind us that this fixation on the right moment is one of life's grandest illusions. There is no ideal starting point, no flawless hour awaiting your readiness. The only certainty is the present, the fleeting now, pregnant with possibility, urging us to begin, even in imperfection. Will you let another day fade into dusk with your best efforts still waiting in the wings? Or will you choose, at last, to break the cycle, take that crucial first step, and seize control of your own unfolding story? The path forward begins with a single decision: to act here and now, without waiting for circumstances to align perfectly. Procrastination thrives in the gap between intention and action, feeding on uncertainty and hesitation. But with the practice of single task immersion, you close that gap, transforming mere intention into tangible effort. In doing so, you do more than complete tasks. You reclaim your power, reaffirm your commitment to growth, and declare your intent to live purposefully. Wouldn't it be liberating to release yourself from the weight of unfinished tasks and unfulfilled promises, to meet each day not with hesitation but with quiet confidence? The Stoics knew that the first step towards such liberation lies not in elaborate strategies, but in the courage to begin. Imperfectly, perhaps, but decisively. Are you ready to begin? 1. The nature of procrastination. Procrastination is not merely the innocent postponement of tasks, but a quiet erosion of willpower, a gradual surrender of personal mastery over life's moments. The Stoics, ever mindful of human frailty, regarded procrastination as a subtle form of self-betrayal. To them, time was not an abstract commodity to be spent carelessly but a finite treasure, measured in fleeting moments of action or inaction. Each moment delayed, they believed, was a moment relinquished, a fragment of existence exchanged for the empty promise of a better time that may never arrive. Think of the countless mornings when you've awakened with noble intentions, only to find yourself entangled in hesitation as the hours slipped away. How often have you let minor distractions dictate the rhythm of your day, leaving behind a trail of half-hearted starts and unfinished efforts? Procrastination, in its most deceptive form, masquerades as prudence, whispering that waiting for ideal conditions is wise. But to wait endlessly for clarity or readiness, as Seneca warns, is to squander life's most precious gift, the present. The Stoics saw this hesitation as dangerous not because it delays tasks, but because it weakens the soul. Every time we postpone what ought to be done, we reinforce a habit of indecision, a habit that, once formed, governs us like an unseen tyrant. Procrastination, they argued, feeds on itself, growing larger and more intimidating with each passing day. Tasks that once seemed manageable loom ever larger as we allow them to gather the dust of dread. Inaction, far from preserving energy, drains us of it, filling our minds with an undercurrent of anxiety and regret. But what if you could break this cycle? What if, instead of seeking perfection, you sought progress? The Stoics teach us that mastery begins not with grand gestures, but with simple, deliberate action. Action taken in the face of uncertainty, without the guarantee of ease or success. They understood that by immersing oneself in a single task and giving it undivided attention, one engages in a form of personal renewal. The act of beginning, however small, ignites a quiet momentum that transforms indecision into clarity, hesitation into resolve. To the Stoics, the cost of procrastination was not just uncompleted tasks, it was a diminished life. Every moment surrendered to inaction is a moment lost to purpose. And so, they urge us to recognize that life's meaning is forged in action, not in idle contemplation. You do not need perfect conditions to begin. You need only the willingness to step forward, imperfectly but decisively. Would you allow another day to pass, weighed down by the burden of tasks deferred, or will you take control of this moment and begin to reshape your destiny? The Stoics remind us that procrastination is a thief not just of time, but of potential. By recognizing it for what it is, a quiet enemy cloaked in comfort, you take the first step toward reclaiming your freedom. With each deliberate action, no matter how small, you affirm your commitment to living a life of purpose and intention. 2. The Stoic solution: Single Task Immersion. The Stoics, with their unwavering commitment to clarity of thought and purposeful action, understood that the root of procrastination lies in fragmented focus and indecision. They believed that life's true progress depends not on waiting for the perfect strategy, but on immediate and deliberate engagement. It is in this spirit that they offer a simple yet transformative practice: Single Task Immersion, a method that demands the courage to act now, without hesitation, without waiting for ideal circumstances. At its core, Single Task Immersion embodies the Stoic principle of aligned action, where intention meets execution in the present moment. It is a call to reject the endless planning and theorizing that so often serve as subtle forms of procrastination. Seneca once cautioned that the pursuit of the perfect approach is, in itself, a dangerous delay tactic. We convince ourselves that more preparation is necessary, more information is required, or that we must first be in the right mindset. But this endless search for readiness becomes a self-imposed barrier, keeping us from ever truly beginning. Instead, the Stoics urge us to focus on one task, to pour ourselves fully into it, and to cultivate the discipline of completion. This practice doesn't demand elaborate systems or intricate routines. It requires something far more challenging: a deep commitment to doing. By immersing yourself entirely in a single endeavor, you silence the inner dialogue of doubt and distraction, anchoring your mind in purposeful work. Action, the Stoics remind us, is definitive. It cuts through the fog of uncertainty and replaces endless deliberation with tangible progress. Marcus Aurelius encouraged himself to view each task as an opportunity, a chance to embody virtue, to refine character, and to act in accordance with nature. In embracing single task immersion, you are not merely completing tasks. You are engaging in an ancient philosophical practice that honors the fleeting nature of time. Every task, no matter how small or mundane, becomes a chance to cultivate resilience and intentionality. The act of immersion transforms work into a form of meditation, where the mind, undivided and focused, moves with quiet strength toward completion. By choosing to immerse yourself in the present task, you reclaim control over your attention and energy. You free yourself from the scattered state of half-done projects and unresolved efforts, replacing it with the steady satisfaction of meaningful progress. Each completed task becomes a testament to your ability to act decisively, reinforcing the Stoic ideal that we are defined not by what we intend to do but by what we actually do. In a world filled with endless distractions, Single Task Immersion offers a powerful antidote. It reminds us that progress is not made in leaps, but in deliberate steps. And with each step, no matter how modest, we break free from the chains of procrastination, proving to ourselves that mastery is found not in perfect conditions, but in unwavering commitment to purposeful action. Will you continue to hesitate, waiting for a time that may never come? Or will you heed the Stoic call to immerse yourself in the work before you, here and now? 3. Overcoming the illusion of perfect timing. One of the greatest deceptions we fall prey to is the belief that there will be a perfect time to act, a moment when clarity is absolute, when motivation surges, and when external circumstances align flawlessly. The Stoics were keenly aware of this illusion and warned against its seductive power. Seneca, in his writings, reminds us that life does not wait for us to feel ready. It marches forward, indifferent to our hesitation. To delay action in pursuit of this imagined ideal moment is to waste the only resource we can never replenish, time. This fixation on perfect timing often becomes a comfortable refuge for those seeking to avoid discomfort. It provides a convenient excuse to remain idle, convincing us that inaction is wise when, in truth, it is merely fear disguised as prudence. Yet the Stoics knew that waiting for ideal conditions is a futile endeavor, for life is rarely, if ever, without obstacles. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this reality, urging himself to meet each day as it is, not as he wished it to be. The Stoic path does not demand perfection. It demands progress. And progress begins not with waiting, but with choosing to act, even amid uncertainty. Single Task Immersion, in this context, becomes more than a method, it becomes a mindset. It calls us to abandon the endless quest for readiness and to engage fully with the present moment, imperfect though it may be. Each moment of hesitation chips away at our confidence, while each deliberate action, no matter how small, reinforces our resolve. The Stoics understood that true readiness is not something we wait for. It is something we create by stepping forward and beginning. Think of how many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you waited for everything to be just right. How often have you told yourself, "Not yet. I'll start when the time is better." And yet, as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, that perfect moment never arrives. What you are left with is the quiet regret of time lost to hesitation. The Stoics invite us to break free from this cycle by embracing a simple truth. The best time to act is not some distant, imagined point in the future. It is now, in the midst of imperfection and doubt. This is why the practice of Single Task Immersion is so powerful. It forces us to confront the present as it is, without waiting for ideal conditions. By grounding ourselves in the immediate task, we strip away the illusion of someday and replace it with the tangible progress of today. In doing so, we cultivate a sense of inner strength, a confidence born not from perfect circumstances, but from our ability to move forward despite them. Will you continue to wait for the perfect moment, allowing life to pass you by? Or will you, like the Stoics, recognize that perfection is a mirage, and that the only true path forward is the one taken with steady, deliberate action? By embracing the imperfect present and immersing yourself fully in it, you take the first step toward living a life of intention and purpose. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom: to act now, without delay, and to find meaning in the effort itself. 4. The power of immediate engagement. The Stoics understood a profound truth about human nature. Hesitation feeds fear, while action dispels it. Every time we delay what needs to be done, we give room for doubt to grow, for hesitation to take root, and for our resolve to weaken. It is in those moments of inaction that procrastination gains power over us, casting a shadow over our intentions and weighing us down with a growing sense of unfinished responsibility. The antidote, according to the Stoics, lies in one thing: immediate engagement. Seneca wrote that time is our most valuable asset, yet we often act as though we have an infinite supply. To delay action, he argued, is to gamble with something irreplaceable. Immediate engagement, the conscious decision to begin now, without waiting for motivation or ideal conditions, cuts through the clutter of indecision and redirects our focus toward progress. It is not the grand plans or perfect strategies that define our success, but our willingness to take the first step, however small, toward meaningful action. Single Task Immersion is rooted in this principle. It demands that we confront our tasks head-on, without overthinking or falling into the trap of endless planning. By choosing to engage immediately with one task, we shift our mental energy from the abstract realm of what if to the concrete world of what is. In this shift, we reclaim control over our actions and begin to build momentum. The Stoics believe that motion creates momentum, that by simply starting, we ignite a chain reaction of effort, focus, and accomplishment. Think back to a time when you finally began something you had long postponed. Perhaps it was writing a report, making a difficult phone call, or tackling a long overdue project. The moment you engaged with the task, didn't it feel as though a weight was lifted? That is the power of immediate action, the liberation that comes from confronting what once seemed daunting and realizing that the fear of the task was far greater than the task itself. Marcus Aurelius taught that our actions should align with nature, that just as nature continuously moves forward, so too must we. Life does not pause for us to gather our thoughts or summon the perfect conditions. It moves relentlessly and indifferently. The Stoics urge us to do the same, to move forward, to act decisively, and to meet life's challenges as they come. Immediate engagement, therefore, is not just a tool for productivity. It is a philosophy of life, a way of ensuring that we do not squander the present moment waiting for an uncertain future. By practicing single task immersion, we break free from the paralyzing grip of overthinking. We quiet the inner voice that insists we aren't ready or that the task is too large to tackle. Instead, we focus entirely on the present task, pouring our energy into what we can control right now. Each small act of engagement builds upon the last, creating a sense of steady progress that dispels the anxiety of undone work and replaces it with the quiet confidence of action. The question remains: will you allow procrastination to keep you in a state of hesitation, weighed down by tasks deferred? Or will you choose the Stoic path of immediate engagement, reclaiming your power moment by moment, task by task? Remember, the Stoics didn't demand perfection, they demanded effort. And in that effort, taken without delay, lies the true power to transform your life. 5. Practical steps to apply single task immersion. The Stoics, masters of practicality, believed that philosophy was useless unless applied to daily life. They didn't view their teachings as abstract theories meant only for contemplation, but as tools for navigating the complexities of existence. Single task immersion, a concept deeply rooted in their principles, offers a practical method for overcoming the overwhelming nature of modern life. The Stoics understood that grand ambitions are achieved not through monumental leaps, but through consistent, focused steps taken in the present moment. When faced with an intimidating task, the mind often becomes paralyzed by the sheer scale of what lies ahead. The Stoics recognized that this paralysis stems from a fragmented approach, an attempt to mentally tackle the entire burden at once. Epictetus observed that clarity emerges when the mind focuses on what is within its control. Therefore, single task immersion encourages us to narrow our focus to one task, stripping away the noise of everything else. By channeling all of our energy into the immediate step before us, we dismantle the illusion of insurmountability and replace it with tangible progress. Consider how often we are tempted to juggle multiple tasks at once, believing that multitasking leads to greater efficiency. In truth, scattered focus breeds scattered results. The Stoics would argue that to divide one's attention is to dilute one's effectiveness. Seneca famously remarked that those who are everywhere are nowhere, implying that a divided mind accomplishes little of lasting value. Instead of succumbing to the chaos of multitasking, single task immersion demands deliberate focus on one meaningful action at a time, fostering a sense of clarity and purpose. But how do we apply this method in a world that constantly demands our attention? The answer lies in simplification. Begin by identifying the one task that, if completed, will move you meaningfully forward. This requires honesty and discernment, qualities the Stoics greatly valued. Not all tasks are created equal, and the ability to distinguish between what is essential and what is trivial is a hallmark of wisdom. Once you've selected your task, commit fully. Set aside distractions, silence the inner critic, and immerse yourself entirely in the process of doing. You may encounter resistance, both external and internal. The mind, ever inventive, will craft excuses to delay, reminding you of other responsibilities, tempting you with the ease of entertainment, or whispering doubts about your ability to succeed. Here, the Stoic practice of preparation for discomfort becomes invaluable. Expect resistance, but do not yield to it. As Marcus Aurelius taught, obstacles are merely opportunities for growth. By immersing yourself in a single task despite the discomfort, you strengthen your will and deepen your capacity for focused effort. Progress, however small, is the goal. The Stoics were not concerned with the speed of achievement, but with the steady accumulation of effort over time. Each completed task, no matter how modest, becomes a victory, a deposit in the vault of accomplishment. Over time, these small victories compound, building momentum and fostering a mindset of disciplined action. Through consistent practice, single task immersion transforms from a technique into a habit, shaping your approach to every challenge you encounter. Will you continue to be overwhelmed by the enormity of your to-do list, or will you embrace the Stoic wisdom of simplicity and focus? By applying single task immersion, you reclaim control over your time and your mind. You move from passivity to engagement, from hesitation to action, and in doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal of living with intention, progressing not through fleeting bursts of effort, but through steady, deliberate steps forward. 6. Dealing with distractions and mental clutter. In a world brimming with distractions, the battle for focus is an unrelenting one. The Stoics, living in a time devoid of modern technology but rife with human distractions of a different kind, recognized the insidious nature of a scattered mind. They taught that scattered focus weakens not only productivity but also the clarity of purpose that anchors a meaningful life. Every distraction, whether external or internal, is an invitation to drift away from what truly matters. The Stoics believe that without deliberate control of our attention, we become prisoners of fleeting impulses, forever pulled in conflicting directions. Seneca warned that we often squander time by being busy with nothing. This type of busyness, engaging in trivial tasks while avoiding what is essential, breeds a false sense of accomplishment. Distractions, he argued, create the illusion of progress while robbing us of the opportunity to engage deeply with what truly advances our goals. Single task immersion offers a countermeasure to this deception. By committing wholly to a single task, we reject the lure of shallow engagement and choose instead the path of depth and purpose. But what makes distractions so tempting? They appeal to our desire for ease, for immediate gratification, and for avoidance of discomfort. Difficult tasks often trigger discomfort, anxiety, uncertainty, or the fear of failure. Distractions promise a temporary reprieve from these feelings, making them hard to resist. The Stoics, however, would remind us that genuine growth lies in discomfort. To turn away from distraction and toward the task at hand is to exercise mastery over oneself, an act the Stoics revered as the highest form of freedom. Practicing single-task immersion amidst distractions requires both preparation and intention. First, prepare your environment. Remove unnecessary stimuli, whether that means turning off notifications, setting boundaries with others, or simply finding a quiet space. By minimizing external distractions, you create conditions more conducive to focus. But environment alone is not enough. Intention is paramount. The Stoics taught that we must consciously direct our will, reminding ourselves of the purpose behind our actions. Each task, no matter how mundane, is an opportunity to strengthen discipline and align our actions with our higher values. When distractions inevitably arise, the key is not to fight them, but to acknowledge them and gently return to the task. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the transient nature of thoughts and feelings, noting that they pass like waves if we do not cling to them. Distractions, like those waves, lose their grip when we refuse to engage with them. By redirecting our attention back to the present task without frustration or judgment, we cultivate a calm, disciplined mind. A mind, too, engaged in meaningful work to entertain distractions. The Stoics knew that a scattered mind breeds doubt and restlessness, while a focused mind fosters clarity and resolve. With each act of immersion, we strengthen our capacity to resist distractions, reinforcing the habit of purposeful engagement. Over time, distractions lose their power, replaced by a sense of calm flow, a state in which progress feels natural and effort feels rewarding. So, the question remains, will you allow distractions to dictate your day, keeping you in a cycle of shallow tasks and scattered effort? Or will you, like the Stoics, choose depth over ease, focus over chaos, and purpose over impulse? Single-task immersion offers a path toward a life of clarity, one where each action is deliberate and distractions are merely passing ripples in the vast ocean of your unwavering will. By practicing this method, you reclaim not just your attention but your power to shape each moment with intention and purpose. 7. Consistency over perfection. In the pursuit of meaningful progress, one of the most destructive myths is the idea that perfection must precede action. The Stoics, however, held a different view. They believed that life is not a flawless masterpiece to be crafted in ideal conditions, but a series of deliberate steps, imperfect yet purposeful. Seneca wisely observed that, while we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away. To the Stoics, the pursuit of perfection often masks a deeper fear, the fear of failure, the fear of inadequacy, or even the fear of facing oneself honestly through action. This fear leads us into a dangerous trap, inaction disguised as preparation. Single-task immersion challenges this mindset by placing consistency above perfection. It reminds us that the true measure of progress is not found in grand, flawless achievements, but in steady, deliberate effort. Each day that we immerse ourselves in a single task, regardless of how imperfectly we perform it, we inch closer to mastery. The Stoics understood that repetition, not perfection, is the foundation of excellence. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that it is through consistent engagement with life's duties, no matter how mundane, that we cultivate strength of character and inner resilience. Consider how often we delay beginning something because we fear we won't do it perfectly. Perhaps you've told yourself, "I'll start when I feel more ready," or "I need to plan more before I can begin." Yet this hesitation leads only to stagnation. The Stoic approach, by contrast, urges us to take immediate action and trust that the process itself will bring clarity and improvement. In doing so, we shift our focus from distant outcomes to the present effort, the only part of the process we truly control. Consistency, then, becomes an act of self-discipline, a commitment to show up each day and give our best, however imperfect. The Stoics did not expect flawless performance. They expected steadfast effort. Epictetus taught that what lies within our power is our response to each moment, not to seek perfection, but to act with intention and to learn from each experience. When we adopt this mindset, we free ourselves from the paralyzing weight of unrealistic expectations and embrace the empowering practice of consistent action. Through single task immersion, each imperfect action becomes a building block for something greater. Over time, these small, consistent efforts compound, leading to tangible progress and personal growth. The paradox is that in striving for consistency rather than perfection, we often find ourselves achieving a higher standard of excellence than we ever would by waiting for the perfect moment. More importantly, we develop a deep trust in ourselves, the confidence that comes from knowing we can act, persist, and improve, no matter the circumstances. The question is not whether you will perform flawlessly, but whether you will begin and continue. Will you allow perfectionism to paralyze you, keeping you trapped in endless planning and second-guessing? Or will you, like the Stoics, embrace the present moment, take that first imperfect step, and commit to steady, consistent effort? By choosing consistency over perfection, you honor the Stoic principle that life is lived and progress is made, not in idealized future moments, but in the imperfect present. Each day of consistent effort is a quiet triumph, a step forward on the path of becoming the person you aspire to be. 8. Procrastination as a form of self-betrayal. Procrastination, at its core, is more than just the postponement of tasks. It is a subtle form of self-betrayal. Each time we defer what must be done, we violate a quiet promise we've made to ourselves, and with every broken promise, our self-trust erodes. The Stoics understood this dynamic deeply. They believed that a person's sense of inner peace and confidence is built upon the foundation of integrity, of aligning one's actions with one's intentions. To delay action, then, is not simply to lose time. It is to lose faith in our own word. Consider how often we set intentions to begin a project, develop a habit, or pursue a goal, only to watch those intentions dissolve into the endless void of later. Each time we do so, we reinforce a damaging narrative within ourselves that our word holds little weight, that our will is fickle, and that our actions are negotiable. The Stoics would argue that this internal betrayal is one of the greatest sources of inner turmoil. It creates a dissonance between who we aspire to be and who we actually are in practice. Single task immersion offers a remedy to this dissonance by restoring integrity through action. The Stoics taught that the path to inner harmony is not through idle contemplation or lofty aspirations, but through consistent, purposeful deeds. Epictetus emphasized that our control lies not in external circumstances, but in how we choose to respond. By choosing to immerse ourselves fully in one task at a time, we honor the commitments we make to ourselves, thereby reinforcing our sense of self-respect. But why is this form of self-betrayal so pervasive? It often arises from fear. Fear of failure, fear of discomfort, or fear of confronting our limitations. Procrastination allows us to escape this fear temporarily, offering the illusion of relief. Yet, in doing so, it deepens the very anxiety we seek to avoid. The Stoics would urge us to confront this fear directly, to recognize that the discomfort of beginning is fleeting, while the regret of inaction lingers far longer. Each time we choose to act despite our fear, we reclaim a part of ourselves, proving that our will is stronger than our hesitation. Moreover, The Stoics believe that consistent effort shapes character. Every time we follow through on a task, no matter how small, we strengthen the habit of action over delay. This habit becomes a testament to our reliability, not only in the eyes of others, but, more importantly, in our own eyes. It fosters a quiet confidence, a sense of mastery over oneself that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. As Marcus Aurelius observed, life is a series of choices, and each choice either strengthens or weakens the person we are becoming. Will you continue to betray your own intentions, allowing procrastination to erode your sense of self? Or will you, like the Stoics, commit to the simple yet profound act of honoring your word through action? By immersing yourself in a single task and seeing it through to completion, you begin to mend the fractures caused by delay. You cultivate a relationship with yourself based on trust, integrity, and purpose. This, the Stoics teach us, is the foundation of a life well lived, not in grand achievements or perfect outcomes, but in the steadfast commitment to do what we say we will do, one task at a time. 9. Single Task Immersion as a life philosophy. To the Stoics, philosophy was never meant to be an intellectual exercise confined to abstract reasoning. It was a way of living, a means of navigating the challenges of existence with clarity and purpose. Single Task Immersion embodies this Stoic ethos by offering more than a mere productivity technique. It becomes a way of engaging with life itself. The Stoics believe that a meaningful life is built not on fleeting bursts of energy or grandiose plans, but on consistent, purposeful action rooted in the present moment. In today's world, filled with endless distractions and competing demands, it is easy to drift through life, busy yet directionless. The Stoics warned against this state of constant busyness without substance. Seneca cautioned that we must be wary of filling our days without filling our lives. The practice of single-task immersion forces us to confront this reality by grounding our focus in what truly matters, choosing one task, committing to it fully, and giving it our undivided attention. In doing so, we cultivate a deliberate way of living, one where each action is intentional and each moment is valued. But adopting single-task immersion as a life philosophy requires more than discipline. It demands a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing tasks as mere obligations or hurdles to overcome, the Stoics invite us to see each task as an opportunity to practice virtue. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the idea that our duties, no matter how mundane, are expressions of our role in the greater order of life. When we immerse ourselves fully in a task, we are not simply completing an item on a checklist. We are engaging in an act of self-discipline, patience, and perseverance, virtues that the Stoics held in the highest regard. Through this practice, we begin to understand that life's richness is not found in distant dreams or future accomplishments, but in the quiet triumph of fully living each moment. By focusing on the task at hand, we align ourselves with nature's rhythm, a rhythm that moves forward steadily without haste or delay. This alignment brings a sense of inner peace, a recognition that we are doing what we can, where we are, with what we have. As Epictetus taught, true freedom comes not from controlling external events, but from mastering our response to them. Single-task immersion, then, becomes a practice in mastering ourselves, one action at a time. Over time, this approach transforms how we view our days. Instead of being weighed down by an overwhelming list of tasks or distracted by a never-ending stream of stimuli, we approach each day with clarity and calm. We understand that we cannot do everything at once, but we can always do something, and that something, when done with intention, carries profound meaning. Each completed task becomes a quiet victory, a step forward in a life lived deliberately. So, will you continue to scatter your energy across countless distractions, always busy yet rarely fulfilled? Or will you embrace the Stoic path of single-task immersion, choosing to live not by the whims of external demands, but by the quiet strength of focused action? The The Stoics remind us that life is too brief to waste in hesitation or superficial busyness. By immersing yourself in each task, you claim your role as both the architect and the builder of your own life. This, they believed, is the essence of a life well lived. Not perfection, but purpose, practiced consistently in the present moment. Conclusion. The Stoics remind us that life is fleeting, and every moment lost to hesitation is a moment we will never reclaim. Procrastination, though comforting in the short term, slowly steals from us the life we could have lived, filled with purpose, growth, and quiet triumphs. The practice of single task immersion is not merely about getting things done. It's about reclaiming your power to act, to choose, and to live intentionally. Each time you commit to a task without delay, you build a life shaped not by chance or distraction, but by deliberate progress, one step at a time. As you stand at the crossroads of action and hesitation, remember this. Waiting for the perfect moment is an illusion, but the opportunity to begin exists now. The Stoics believe that true freedom lies not in external circumstances, but in mastering our response to them. By immersing yourself in each task, you embrace this freedom. You become the author of your own story, writing each chapter not with lofty intentions, but with purposeful deeds. If this message resonates with you, if you find value in these timeless Stoic principles, consider joining a growing community of seekers who strive for intentional living. Subscribe to the channel, and together we'll continue exploring ancient wisdom and practical tools for mastering the art of life. Each video is an invitation to reflect, to grow, and most importantly, to act. Remember, the journey towards self-mastery doesn't happen in the realm of someday. It begins here, and it begins now. Are you ready to take the next step? If so, subscribe today and take action, not tomorrow, but today.